What's up, guys? So this is the BHQ exclusive Kizer mini domin, and it's been available on BHQ for a minute now. And this is actually a knife that I lost, and I liked it so much I actually purchased another one because of the price. It's 55 bucks. Still currently 55 bucks. It was 50 bucks, 55 bucks when it first became available. And for what it is, it's a pretty sweet knife. It's fully flat ground blade, drop point style, or I guess straight back. It is pretty freaking straight. Sure. Just thumb studs to open it. There are not ball bearings, it's just washers. But there is still something good to be said about that. Washers keep a knife opening smoother for a longer period of time than bearings, because bearings have a higher chance of getting gunked up with like pocket lint and like little paper, cardboard material and stuff that just gets in there. Because this is a much tighter construction than most ball bearing I guess opening action knives. This will stay smoother than some other knives. And for the price, I think it's a pretty sweet knife. It is this Ghost G10 or Jade G10, so you can dye it whatever kind of color. It does have these polished steel liners that shadow box the actual G10. It has this super simple just bent steel clip that's slightly polished. It works really well. I do not feel it when I'm holding onto the knife. It doesn't bug me. There's no hot spots to it. Like a lot of the other knives in my collection, there's no part of it that is sharp that shouldn't be, just the edge itself. The blade material isn't super great. It's N690, but it gets the job done. The angle of the edge that I have on it, not too sure what it is, but I think the cutting performance would improve overall if I lay it back a little bit to make it even thinner, but that would also mean that it'd be more delicate. But this is a knife that I bought for work purposes years back, and I still use it because it's freaking great for what it is. And I've never really had an issue with it. I think this is a knife that you should definitely consider if you want something that is around 50, around 60 bucks, that is actually going to perform pretty well. There's nothing too crazy about it. It's a pretty simple design. There are some weight relief cuts inside of there, but they're so small that I don't really think they do much. There is a little lanyard hole in the back. It's also made out of the same material as the scales, the JG10. And the access to the liner, it's heavily chamfered right there. And even though this doesn't have any jimping or anything for your finger to grab onto, it's still pretty easy to disengage it. Just push it over to the side, that's it. Kizer is a pretty cool company. Been around for a minute, and since this knife has become available, they have produced so many other great knives that are just a little bit more expensive, but now they have way better blade materials on them. They have way better action. But even still, this is a great knife. I definitely would not get rid of it. But I wouldn't completely call it a beater knife either. I do like to take care of all my knives regardless of how cheap or how expensive they are. And I do use pretty much all of them. But I would say that this one is probably one of the older ones and probably has gotten the most use, the most sharpenings. And, you know, I'm still going to be able to get a good bit of more life out of this. Definitely. This is a pretty cool little knife.